Hey everyone, ArdrethShadow here, and welcome to Cabin Fever, a visual novel done by Panda Studios, who you might recognize from the fame of Crush Crush and Blush Blush. So I guess for anyone who's been around my channel long enough, should be no surprise that I'm playing this right now. This game is actually on Steam, but it is also on the Nintendo Switch as of now, so you can actually play this on the Nintendo Switch, so we actually have a Sad Panda game on there now. I'm still playing the Switch version, I'm playing the Steam version, so yeah, go figure on that one. So, just taking a quick look here. You also have the option of either having no voiceover, or either male or female voiceover.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
And the male protagonist, oddly enough, sounds like Volks from Blush Blush. Probably the same voice actor. I don't know. I mean, it would make sense, but anyway. So, this is kind of what we're looking at here. Let's see, we have 3 pages of... Oh, well, slot 18, so we have 18 save slots. Okay. Oh, well, it already gives you that option here. So we can mess with the text speed, the voice, music. Yeah, maybe I'll have it like about... Here's probably good. And, okay. And I guess in typical fashion, just give it my name. But anyway, well, yeah, so you can technically play as male or female. I'm imagining the game is going to be kind of gender neutral in that regard. I don't know for sure. Or maybe it's customized like Honey Pop is. Anyway, well, here we go. Oh, hello. This game contains sensitive content and is intended for mature audiences. For more information about our content warnings, visit here! Please confirm you are over the age of 13 and wish to continue. I agree with the fish thing. Okay, Chapter 1, Prologue.
I don't remember much about the world before the sickness. I was just a kid when it started, too young to fully grasp all the changes happening across the globe. Looking back, it was as though some cosmic clearance bin of trashy dystopian paperbacks was spilling plot points out onto reality. You had your unknown virus, your slow-to-act world leaders, your extremists, deniers on one end, doomsday preppers on the other. And overall, just a heck of a lot of scandal and angst.
Huh. Interesting. Well, I'm not saying anything.
What it boiled down to was this. Stay away from each other.
Stay away from the summoner.
Yep, that simple. Stay away. Because the sickness mutated so rapidly, spread so easily, and killed so many, that preventing transmission was the only way to stop it from wiping out the human race.
And it's kind of ironic that... Well, actually, should I really be talking about the big V on this channel, like, at all? I know with some channels it's not really recommended you do that. I guess I will just say, keep in mind this game came out in, I believe, July or so, summer of this year, before certain mutations started happening and taking place, so I'm a little bit concerned, or at the very least like, oh my god, it's happening!
A cure could be developed, they told us. Would be developed, they promised. Somehow. Someday. Life changed. Everything from school and work to medical appointments and family dinners became virtual. And as it turns out, hosting an online society requires a lot of computer programming.
I could imagine that it does.
Like, a lot. Lucky for me, I'd always had a knack for stuff like that. It was easy to get trained and even easier to find work. When's the last time you heard a young person say that, huh? I did programming for medical services, government websites, automated manufacturing. There was no shortage of freelance contracts.
I guess there is that bright side.
Of course, places like movie theaters, shopping malls, and restaurants died out. Even farms and factories became rare. So much of the workforce lost. But to be honest, I personally thought all of it was a net gain for the planet. Fewer people meant less pollution. War and terrorism dropped to an all-time low. Most people learned to be at least somewhat self-sufficient.
Oh my... Let's see, due to Vivid 22. Well, I guess we know what it's called in this universe. Sad Panda Park.
As for me, well, since my parents both died not long after my high school graduation, I was probably more self-sufficient than most. I was alone for a long time. Long enough to be used to it. At least I was healthy. I had my routine, with lots of work to keep me busy and the internet at my fingertips to keep me from getting bored. What more could I have wanted?
The world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I'm feeling fine. Okay, well, we have these rain sound effects. Gosh, let me lower the volume a little bit on my... Okay. I lived in an off-grid cabin that had been in my family for years. When I was young, we used to visit every summer, just to get away from it all. I'd probably call that ironic, but every time I say that word, someone tells me I'm using it wrong. Well, isn't that ironic? Don't you think? Anyway, when the sickness started spreading, that cabin became a place to survive. It had everything a small family could need. Though, like I said, by this time I was the sole member of my bubble. I was used to taking care of myself. On a good day, the sun was shining onto the solar panels. I could get 30k... kilowatt hertz? Is that what that is? I don't know. More than enough to power the appliances in the house and keep the battery bank full. And since the cabin sat near the mountains, I'd often get a decent power level at night with the wind turbine catching the air coming off the ridge. But that night it was raining hard. Nice place you got here. Oh, this is indeed DLC. I'm trying to see, like, is there any sort of little Easter egg thingies I can recognize? Not off the bat. I'd have to get pretty up close and personal with my monitor, and even then I can't really tell. Like most evenings, I spent this one on my computer playing my favorite idle clicker game. And browsing the web for news. Yeah, I see what you're doing there, Sad Panda. The news was mostly doom and gloom, of course, but I liked finding the odd tech or space-related articles sprinkled in. I was thinking about how badly I wanted aliens to be real, when an email alert danced in the corner of my screen. I opened it. Yet another forward from one of my more gullible work colleagues about a possible cure for the death-dealing virus. This particular claim apparently stemmed from a breakthrough in the study of bovine bodily function. Wait, what?
What a load of bullshit.
Literally.
Literally. Good one.
Wow, looks like he's literally me. I was pretty much the only company I had anymore, so yeah, I talked to myself. I mean, as my aunt would say, it's okay to talk to yourself. Now, if you start having full-on conversations with yourself, well then, yeah, you might want to do something about that. I deleted the email, letting out a heavy sigh. There was a point in time when I found that sort of thing amusing. The ridiculous conspiracy theories and clickbait titles. But now, I just found them sad. You are a sad, strange little man. I glanced at the clock. Time for tea. I put the computer into sleep mode and headed into the kitchen. Sorry, Renee, I'll have to wait. Okay, no. On my way there, I accidentally knocked a broomstick laying across the floor.
Ow! Ow, ow, ow! Why is that even there? I never sweep.
Geez, if you never sweep... Well, I mean, even if no one visits you, I mean, still. I have allergies and, you know, the dust and all that. In that moment, I judged myself hard. Oh well, the world had basically ended, so what was the point of cleaning up? Like I said, if you have allergies, well, good luck with that. It wasn't like I was expecting company. I kicked the broom aside and carried on. In the kitchen, I steeped a nice big cup of herbal tea. Then I tossed my used tea bag into the compost bin, noting as I did that the bin was nearly full. I'd have to take it out soon, empty it into the tumbler with the rest of my food scraps and plant waste. Then, probably in the spring, I'd add fresh compost to the garden, give my plants a nice healthy nutrient boost. I loved my plants. I wanted them to be strong in case they ever needed to defend the cabin from zombies or traveling salespeople. Plants versus zombies. Okay, well that I understand, but the traveling salespeople, I don't quite. Unless this is a reference to the Little Shop of Horrors, I don't know. Smirking to myself, I stood in the kitchen and sipped my tea. Shut up and drink your goddamn tea! Alright now. The only sound was the muffled rush of the rain outside. So peaceful. I don't like it. Oh. What was that? A fox prowling outside? A raccoon? That was no raccoon. There wasn't a person in my garden, was there? I went to the window, peering out into the darkness and listening hard.
I don't have to go out there and check, do I?
Well, if you can just ignore it and maybe you'll live longer. I don't know.
I mean, someone could be in trouble. But then again, someone could be trouble.
Oh. I knew you were trouble when you walked in.
Maybe just stand on the porch and yell for whoever it is to get off the lawn?
You crazy kids! Get off my lawn! I weighed my options. Okay, well. Okay, well, this isn't a DDLC mod, but I mean, it's still a visual novel, so In typical DDLC mod fashion, I have my notebook here ready. And also, in typical VN fashion, I'm going to see about doing all the bad things first. So... oh wait. Okay, well, also, thank you for giving me the opportunity to save, because some DDLC mods do not do that, and it really irks me. Okay, well. We're gonna stay inside and lock all the doors. It could be a zombie invasion. The scream had sounded humanish, but there were plenty of wild animals out there whose screams sounded humanish too. You know, like, have you seen that screaming marmoset video? The one where the marmosets, they're like, ah! Ah! See? And so what if it was a person? No good had ever come from traipsing outdoors to confront a sketchy stranger in the dark. Yeah, look at how a lot of horror movies start out.
You know what makes me feel safe?
No, what?
Locks. Good, sturdy locks.
We got an achievement. Better safe than sorry? Okay. I walked around inside the cabin, checking that all the doors and windows were secure. Now no one's getting in! Then, feeling quite pleased, I sat down to finish my tea. My goddamn tea. An hour later, I climbed upstairs and went to bed. This is kind of weird, though. I would have expected something like a game over. I'm pretty sure I chose the wrong thing. When I woke, the sky was clear and the sun was on the rise. Mornings like that always put me in a fairly pleasant mood. Pleasant, but wistful. After making a quick cup of coffee, I headed outside, planning to take advantage of the mild weather to get some yard work done. Raking, weeding, maybe cleaning out the gutters. But as I made my way across the lawn and toward a shed, a strange sight stopped me in my tracks. For years, I had kept a few animal traps. I kept a few animal traps set up around the property, and now one of them had been tampered with. There was blood on the trap, soaked into the ground beneath it, and smeared across the grass. Oh. Well, I mean, I knew that there was someone out there, but... like I said, I just chose the wrong one because I'm a completionist and I apparently like to torture myself. Besides the trap lay a purple high-heeled shoe, also blood-streaked and muddy. A lump formed in my throat as I thought about the scream I'd heard the evening before.
Maybe it wasn't an animal.
You think? Last time I checked, animals don't wear shoes. And the shoe, so pretty and impractical, didn't suggest the presence of a dangerous interloper either. Well, what if it's just one of them kids trying to do one of their crazy TikTok challenges? You never know. My stomach felt like a big tight knot as I tried calling out.
Hello? Hello? Is anyone there?
There was no answer, just a gentle rustling of leaves that were starting to crisp, the early morning song of little birds, and the drip-drip of leftover rainwater coming off the downspout. I searched the property, of course. I even searched away into the woods. I never found anyone, or any other sign that someone had been there. But someone had been there, and gotten hurt in my trap. There wasn't anything I could do. In the end, I put on some disposable gloves and moved the shoe, set it neatly beside my porch step. I didn't really expect anyone to come back for it, but getting rid of it felt rude. I scrubbed my hands after. Better safe than sorry. No work got done for the rest of the day. This dark, heavy feeling stayed with me, and if I'm being honest, it stayed with me the next day too. And the day after that. I still wish I'd made a different choice that night. Okay, way to drive it home that I made the wrong choice. I know, I get it, but this is the curse of being a Let's Player, basically. Let's playing a VN for completionist's sake, and having to choose all the wrong options, knowing that you're gonna screw with the lives of these innocent characters, and break some hearts, and make people cry or feel bad. Seriously, sometimes I end up feeling so terrible. I'm here like, no. Well, this is also one reason why I try to get the bad options out of the way first. That way it's like, okay, now that I've gotten all that out of the way, now I can actually do good. If I had gone outside to check, I might have found whoever that purple shoe belonged to, and I might have been able to help them. Wherever they were, I hoped they were somehow okay. Lave sus manos! Okay, this is a game over. Okay, well. Now that that's over with. Okay. So now, let me get this back out. Okay, we're gonna go outside. Go outside and investigate. The scream really had sounded human. I couldn't just ignore that. As much as I wanted to stay inside, warm and dry.
I was raised by humanitarian hippies, and all I got was this pesky conscience.
Lousy hippies.
Kidding. Love you, Mom and Dad. Please don't haunt me.
Ooh, son, I've come back to haunt you. And how dare you call me a hippie? I set down my tea, went to find my crank-powered flashlight, and shoved my shoes into a pair of boots. Hopefully, and probably, I wouldn't find anything out there, but checking was the right thing to do. And not just using my method of just ignore it, you'll live longer. Because, yeah, you might live longer, but then you're also gonna have a lot of guilt for the rest of your life. Oh god, this heartbeat. Oh god, this music. I pulled open the door and stepped out onto the porch. The flashlight flickered pathetically. Luckily, all you need to power up a hand crank flashlight is hands. Which I had. Okay, good. I almost thought you were the hook-handed man from a series of unfortunate events. I scanned the dark garden. Raindrops lit up as the light passed over them, and the trees and shrubs around the cabin swayed. All I could hear was wind and rain. A chill ran down my back.
Yo, anybody out here?
Yo, Smithy.
No? Cool. Have a good night then.
Okay, good night. I turned to head back inside. A small voice stopped me in my tracks.
Hello? I'm here. Would you mind, helping me out of this, please?
The rain seemed to beat down harder as my pulse sped up. I turned my flashlight toward the voice, my hand visibly trembling.
It sure is cold out. I'm definitely not shaking out of fear, because that would be super lame.
No, of course I'm not scared. It's just cold, you see? I ran out here without my jacket on, and I'm probably gonna get hypothermia. I forced myself to step down off the porch and follow the path, until I was close enough to make out the shape of a person. As the weak flashlight beam illuminated more, I gasped. Oh my god, you're gorgeous! Whoever I'd been expecting to find, it certainly wasn't this delicate wisp of a girl. She was so pale, she almost looked like a ghost. Even her hair, long and clinging to her face in the rain, shone bright, almost white in the glow of the flashlight. She crouched on her hands and knees in the mud as though she'd fallen. 100 questions raced through my head. Where did she come from? How long had she been out in the storm? Why wasn't she dressed for the rain? Was she lost? Was she sick? I tried to sound tough, like my dad would have.
You there! What are you doing on my property?
What are you, like 40? The young woman squinted against the flashlight.
Please, I got lost and I promise I wasn't trying to steal anything.
Her voice quivered, which I thought was kind of dumb. After all, she was the interloper. It was me who should be freaking out, which I was.
Well, then explain yourself! Why are you just laying on the ground there? Seems pretty sus.
Gosh, woman of my dreams, you're acting pretty sus right now. Seriously? Okay, well, I mean, I can't blame you for at least putting that in there, so... Why the heck did I add that last part? What was I trying to do? Lighten the mood? Who knows, maybe. Or break the ice. The girl turned her head away. Was she trying to make me feel bad? Was she, God forbid, stifling a cough? I took a step back, unwilling to take any chances. Germs! No! No, get away from me! You're tainted!
I can't get up.
Aww. Her matter-of-fact tone surprised me. I guess I was expecting some elaborate sob story and or pleas for food or money or medicine. It could still be a trick, I thought. She could be getting ready to rob me. And then this is the part where her friend comes out of the bushes with a bat and knocks me over the head. At this point, my flashlight was starting to lose its brightness. I stood there, cranking the handle to power the light back up. It was a long, awkward intermission, backed by the droning sound of the flashlight being worked. But the light was coming back on. I wound the crank a few more times to shine it brighter on her. The whole horrifying picture became clear. Oh my... It's really like... It's digging deep into her leg. Jeez. Somehow the girl had gotten her leg caught in one of my animal traps. She must not have seen the rusted old thing in the dark. And it grabbed her calf and tore it open. Yeah, that's a very... It's a graphic way to describe it, but it's a graphic thing to see, too. It's making me hurt inside just seeing her like this. Okay, so this probably wasn't a trick. I don't think so. If she was trying to pull a trick on you, well then... She's going above and beyond to make it that much more convincing to you.
Oh my god! Are you okay?
I started to move towards her, but then my own legs froze in fear. Fear of getting close to another human. If she was sick, then I could get sick. But then I had no way of knowing whether or not she carried the virus. And right now, she was hurt and trapped because of me. I felt horrible. If I left her to fend for herself, anything could happen. A hungry bear might come along, the weather could turn freezing, and even if she did manage to get herself out of the trap, she could probably develop an infection fast in such a nasty wound. Oh my... Well, by the morning in that other ending, she managed to get away. She left the shoe behind. Oh my... Jeez. Like, yeah, you could seriously get tetanus or something from that. from such a rusty old thing. Swallowing hard, I clenched my fists and forced myself to approach her. I had to get away. Way too close, I had to get way too close for comfort. But I crouched, opened the trap, and freed her leg. It was bleeding pretty heavily, though now I could see it up close. It didn't look to be as deep as I had feared.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you found me. I was afraid I'd be trapped in that thing all night.
Now I really hate the other ending. I stood up quickly and took a few steps back. For some reason, the girl was smiling at me. Didn't she understand that it was my stupid fault she'd gotten hurt? Then again, maybe she shouldn't have been sneaking around in the dark. My brain bickered with itself over who was to blame before realizing the girl wasn't able to get to her feet. I reluctantly offered a hand, wishing I thought to put on some nitrile gloves. But why would I have thought of that? I hadn't seen another human in... How long had it been? Accepting my help, the girl climbed to her feet. She wobbled, leaned in, and grabbed my waist to use me as a crutch.
Sorry. Is it okay that I'm touching you like this?
No, get away from me! Yeah, that's probably what he is thinking, like, yeah, no, get away from me. I don't know if you're tainted, infected, whatever. Her words sent a chill down my spine. Touching? Just the thought of it made me break out in a cold sweat.
It's fine. Let's just get out of this rain.
Yeah, and the less time you spend touching me, the better. What was I doing? When had I decided to let her into my house? The warm light growing inside the cabin was like a beacon drawing us in. Well, said my brain to myself, I guess this is the thing we're doing now. I no longer needed my flashlight, so I tucked it away and used that hand instead to support the injured girl up the pathway. With my arm around her waist and her arm around my shoulder, it became very clear to me how small she really was. Small and delicate, like a folded paper crane. A soggy, limp paper crane in a drenched dress that clung to her shivering body. Just then my pant leg caught on something, a nail jutting out from the side of the porch. Great, now we're gonna get tetanus. I felt the fabric tug and rip as we moved past. Great. What an evening this was turning out to be. Once we made it inside, I helped the stranger sit down on a wooden chair. I made a mental note to disinfect that chair later. And my clothes. Maybe even the flashlight. Maybe even my entire cabin. Maybe even my arms. But first aid.
Where did I put that kit?
Maybe this is why you should actually clean up. If my aunt were still around, like if this were her house, she would have lost her mind. Yeah, that's all. I was never good at staying organized. I can tell. Even on my computer, all my folders and internet tabs were a mess. No point fighting entropy. That was my philosophy. Kinda rhymes. I searched the drawers, the counter, the floor, and nearly tripped over that dumb broom again before finally finding the first aid kit. It was not well stocked, but it would do for now. I gathered up some towels and my forehead thermometer too. Then I washed my hands, put on some gloves and a face mask from an old box in the back of the cupboard, and brought everything over to the waiting girl. Don't touch me, I'm sterile!
Before anything else, let me scan your temperature.
I held the scanner up to her forehead. 2 seconds passed before we heard the good beep, which meant her temperature was normal.
No fever. That's a relief. Do you have any other symptoms?
Her eyes widened. She shook her head. Well, it was still better to be cautious. I barely breathed as I took her leg into my lap and started tending to her wound. Jeez, look at that nasty cut. She didn't wince or complain at all. She was tougher than she looked. I was the opposite, I knew. I looked mean even when I wasn't trying, but on the inside, I was basically a fluffy yellow duckling with anxiety. What a coincidence! I kind of am too. I can't tell you how many times people say that I look angry or mean or tough or something, and it's like, no, really, I'm just scared to talk to people. I have very bad social anxiety, so yeah, talking to people horrifies me sometimes. If our situation were reversed and it was my leg cut up like that, I'd probably have been a weepy wreck, spouting rare and extravagant curse words. Oh, butter biscuits! But she just sat there, watching quietly.
Are you a doctor?
Yar, I be a doctor. Actually, no, I don't be a doctor. Was she joking?
Do you honestly think I look like a doctor?
I don't know, what does a doctor look like? Shit, way to draw attention to your looks, idiot, I thought to myself. Not that I cared, really. It's not that I care, dummy. It was just that I hadn't combed my hair in a few days, or weeks, or months. And I'd been living in the same set of clothes for a while now. A ratty old t-shirt with a rocket ship on the front, and a pair of jeans that had long gone out of fashion. You know, like those ripped up jeans that they used to have in the 90s? I can't imagine jeans ever going out of fashion, I'm just saying. Hot, right? In another life, I might have felt self-conscious. Not about my teeth, though. Never about my teeth. Well, if I'm being IRL, I'm a little bit self-conscious about my teeth. I won't go into that now, but, you know, let's just say, since, well, I guess let's just say that I have had some problems with my jaw being kind of off-centered. So, like, a part of me is kind of nervous to smile because I'm here like, oh god, I don't know if they're gonna, you know, see my teeth and think that it looks weird or whatever, but most people always tell me that when I smile, that one, they like seeing me smile and that I should smile more, and two, that they would have never known about my jaw if I hadn't told them that, so... Dentists were kind of a thing of the past, and since I wanted to keep my teeth, for chewing purposes and whatnot, I was committed to practicing good oral hygiene. Well, at least you take care of that. You take better care of your teeth than your own house.
Well, I'm not sure what a doctor looks like, but you seem to know what you're doing, and you're a very kind person. So I believe you if you told me you were a doctor.
Seems legit. I looked away, awkwardly holding a clean bandage against the gash in her leg. The towels I'd used to clean the wound were now a pile of blood-soaked, mud-stained rags on the dirty floor. Was I a kind person?
It's just basic first aid. Not a big deal. Here, hold this. Put pressure on it while I wrap it up.
I wrapped a length of gauze around her narrow leg to hold the bandage in place.
That should be okay overnight, but we should probably clean it again and rewrap it tomorrow.
Her leg didn't leave my lap. Instead, she wriggled her toes and shot me a small smile.
You're going to let me stay here?
I guess we are.
Huh?
Well, you said it, genius, not me. I looked up at her and instantly forgot how to speak, because I was suddenly struck by how pretty she was. I mean, the rain had done a number on her, but still. Well... well... I always flub up my words, but... at least I can say that I've never forgotten how to speak. She must have been around 20, give or take. Not much younger than me. She was thin, but everyone was thin these days. With her, it was like she'd been built this way. Small and delicate and weightless. Her dress was simple, and a little threadbare. The rain had soaked through, and I realized I could sort of see her undergarments. Okay, well... I quickly averted my eyes, my cheeks warming. I hope she hadn't noticed me looking, because I really hadn't meant to look.
You said clean it again tomorrow, right?
That's what he said. I did. I did say that. The room seemed to spin a little, and my face went from feeling very hot to feeling very cold. Just like that one Katy Perry song that I'm tired of hearing. Stay away from each other. Stay away from the summoner. That was the rule. What was I supposed to do? Okay, time for another... Okay. So, the right answer would be... I'm assuming to say, okay, you can stay here. However... because I'm still trying to 100% do all this and whatever. Okay, she shouldn't stay. That's what I'm gonna write in my notes here. I feel terrible doing this, though. Ugh. Okay, I clicked it. I mean, I still haven't opened my eyes yet. Ugh. Look how pitiful she is, said my brain. Pitiful or not, she could be a carrier, I replied. Out loud. Okay, but like, who exactly are you trying to protect? I shook my head in frustration, ignoring myself and addressing the girl.
Look, I feel for you. I'm not comfortable letting strangers stay in my home. Your leg is bandaged, so you're not going to bleed out. You can head down the same path you came from and just carry on to wherever you were headed.
The girl bowed her head.
I can give you a jacket if you want, and maybe I've got a spare flashlight laying around somewhere. Heck, I'll even throw in a granola bar.
Oh boy, granola bar. Totally worth it now. She removed her leg from my lap, nodding. She wasn't even saying anything, so why do I feel so damn guilty? Because you're breaking her heart! And mine, even though... I know I did it, but still. This is hurting me more than I thought it would.
The good news is, it's not raining as hard anymore. I think.
So are you gonna just say, okay, well, since it's not raining so hard anymore, you can go ahead and leave now, and carry on about your merry way?
I understand. I really, really do.
Yeah, but she still feels bad. Because we're basically sending her back out into the rain. Out into the unknown.
It's just, I've been walking for such a long time. I'm so very tired and cold.
Oh.
Can I at least stay in your shed or something? Just until morning.
Oh my god. I stared at her. She really was awfully pitiful.
That has got to be the most pathetic request I've ever heard.
It's the saddest request I've ever heard.
Screw it. Forget what I said. Stay the night. You can sleep on my couch.
Okay, well, I'm still gonna go back and choose all these other options because... I mean, I still feel bad. But yeah, well, like I said, I'm just gonna try to get all the bad options out of the way first. That way I can go back and do it correctly. She looked up at me, her eyes flooded with surprise and relief.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, just remember it's one night, and we need to stay far away from each other.
Yes, because it's like the old lady told me. Stay away from the summoner. I moved back, making more space between us, and sat to examine the rip in my pant leg. Meanwhile, my brain tried to fathom what was happening. I'd brought a stranger to my house. I didn't know who she was or where she come from. It seemed like a bad idea. Also, a tad surreal.
Damn, I liked these pants.
Oh no, did you get hurt too?
No, it's just a rip.
'Tis but a scratch.
Oh, that's not so bad.
I got up and made even more space between us. She stood up too, testing her weight on her injured leg. I'm just wondering, like, would that be a good idea?
Wow, it already feels so much better. You must have a magical healing touch.
Okay, well, I guess that answered my question. And I love how you have this sort of... Oh, she's blinking! And she has an animated mouth, so... It almost kind of reminds me of Honey Pop in a way, just how that game was. The static poses and the blinking and animated eye and mouth movements and whatever. I was starting to think she might be one of those weird optimistic people. Okay. Also, it was hard to think straight with her standing up in that very damp, very revealing dress.
You need to take that dress off.
We've barely known her for like 5 minutes, and you're here like, get undressed! This is like that one episode of Inuyasha, where he tells Kagome, get undressed! And then she just smacks him and she's like, you pig!
That came out wrong. What I mean is, it's wet and cold, and I'm sure you'd feel better if you changed into something dry and warm.
Yes, that's exactly what we're trying to say here.
I'm sure I have some extra clothes you can wear.
Really?
No. Well, no, I hope so. Hot in the face, I ran off to procure a basket of old clothes from my storage closet. I hadn't worn these since my teenage years. They were far too small for me now, but might be a good fit for her.
Here, take whatever you want. They're all clean.
Her dress is sliding off for a little bit. Nice and clean. I dropped the basket on the table and walked away, and walked backwards away from it. Just gonna back away slowly. Back away slowly.
That's so nice of you. I'll get changed now.
Well, not now in front of me. I watched her take the basket and hobble out of the room to change where I couldn't see. Okay, good. When she came back, I was surprised to see that she had chosen a button-down that was part of my old school uniform from back before everything went online. Back from the good old days. Just look at her. I'd been much younger and probably much smaller when I wore that shirt, but even still, it swam on her frame. It almost looked like a nightgown, which was probably why she had chosen it.
I haven't felt this comfy since I don't know when.
So happy.
It's a school shirt, right? I always liked the look of school uniforms, but I never got to wear one. All my classes were online.
For some reason that made me feel a little sad. I myself had so few memories of the world before the sickness. It was hard to imagine not having any at all.
How old are you?
21. My birthday was actually last week.
Oh, wow. Okay. 21? 21? Okay, oh. One of the only times I can ever make that joke. So you're 21?
Oh, well, happy Happy belated birthday. Do you have a name?
Oh, of course I do. It's Mallory.
Okay, well, now we know our angel has a name. Or, well, I mean, aside from her looking like an angel, she has this little angel wing sort of thing here. I don't know if that's symbolic for something. Anyway, well.
Nice to meet you, Mallory. Well, not nice exactly. Weird to meet you, I guess. I'm not used to people.
It's okay, I'm not used to people either. Yeah, I mean, I'm awkward as all hell if you put me in a social setting. So, I mean, I can kind of relate, but at least I know not to say things like, "Weird to meet you!" or whatever.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, at least Mallory's nice about it.
I didn't mean to trespass onto your property. I really did get lost. And then the rain started, and I could hear these dogs or something howling. I was scared, and I ran towards the first light I saw.
Oh. I nodded as if to say I understood. It was true there were things like wolves and coyotes in the area. That was why I'd set up an extra secure fence for my chickens. Oh, so you got chickens. This is like Harvest Moon, kind of.
But what were you doing out there in the first place?
That's a very good question.
I would rather not talk about that.
Oh, well, okay. I stared at her, totally perplexed. Why the secrecy? Should I press for more? I would rather not do that, because, I mean, it's her choice, you know, it wouldn't be right to force answers out of us, because, I mean, really, who are we to her? Oh, God. Okay, well, let me see. I don't think. Hold the phone here. Okay, so then I guess this one is going to be. Okay, this is save 2, save 3. God, well, I don't... Well, hopefully I can keep all... Well... Okay, well, I guess it's also a good thing that I'm at least writing down my choices here, just so that way I kind of have an idea of the path I'm going here. Okay, we are going to... We're basically going to do everything that... Like, we're basically going to go against how I was brought up to treat a woman, and we're going to be flat out mean and rude and just distasteful to her. And insensitive, yeah. So the insensitive thing would be to just insist on getting some answers out of her. Oh my god. You can tell this is really hard for me. Fictional or not, she is still a woman, so I feel bad being so insensitive toward her.
You need to tell me.
God, that... Even the way he says it, like, you need to tell me, like, now. It almost sounds threatening. Ugh. Yeah, you see, like I said, I know this is the wrong thing to do, but this is what I hate about trying to do a bad options run. I said it as firmly as I could, but the look she gave me in response, big eyes, lip quivering, made me instantly back down. Like, yeah, who does that? Be like, you need to tell me now.
At some point, I mean. Don't worry about it. You're here now, so just take the opportunity to get some rest.
Yeah, at least just give her some time, you know? I guess I should mention, from what little I do know about the game, there are multiple endings. At least there's more than one ending, so yeah, that's kind of why I'm going about it the way I am. Supposedly there are some differences in the endings based on how you treat her, so yeah, that's why, as much as I hate to do it, I'm treating her as insensitive as I possibly can right now. And like I said, I feel like a terrible person treating her this way. And I guess that's why it's going to be all that much more important to go back and choose all the right options for her. I skirted around her to grab some blankets. I maintained a wide berth as I dropped them onto the couch. I offered her a glass of water, pointed out the bathroom, asked if she needed anything, all from afar. Don't mind me being 10 feet away from you. Or 20 feet away from you, I don't know.
This is perfect. Thank you so much for everything. Truly, I'm lucky to have met you.
So happy.
Yeah, just try not to touch anything, okay?
Touch. I shuffled my feet awkwardly.
Okay, I'm going to bed. Bye.
I hope you have sweet dreams. I'll see you in the morning.
Okay. Seriously, she's such a sweetheart. I can already tell from her the way she's just... why do I feel... As I made my way up the stairs to my bedroom, I glanced back. Mallory was already curled up on the couch, looking quite cozy I couldn't remember the last time I'd had anyone in my home, even briefly. I've been so careful for such a long time. I didn't know where she'd been, or if she'd been as careful as I was. Seriously, she just looks so happy. But when my gaze fell on her bandaged leg, a prickle of guilt surged up.
Good night.
Good night, my darling. I finished climbing the stairs and flopped down on my bed. I was so exhausted, emotionally puzzled, and mentally drained. It didn't take long for me to fall deeply asleep. Chapter 3. Germination. This really feels like a Harvest Moon game now. Like the SNES or even the Harvest Moon 64, for anyone who has ever played the older styled Harvest Moon games. You know, before they started to suck and the real Harvest Moon series got renamed to Story of Seasons. I woke, as usual, to the happy sound of the rooster crowing in the garden. The sky was clear, and the early morning sun was bright and cheery. You'd think a morning like that would have put me in a great mood, but nope. All night my dreams had revolved around strange bugs infesting the cabin, hordes of them squirming inside through every crack. It must have been tense all night because my neck had a painful kink in it. I had definitely woken up on the proverbial wrong side of the bed. I suppose I'd forgotten about my house guest, or at least I hadn't remembered to think about her yet. I was busy making a list in my head of the work I needed to get done today. That's when the smoke alarm started shrieking. Smoke? What? I bolted upright in bed. There was someone in my house, and I'd let her in. And yep, I could definitely smell something burning. What's Mallory cooking? I rushed to put on some real daytime clothes and barreled downstairs. Mallory stood in the kitchen, looking mortified. A little smoke hung in the air, but I didn't see any flames. Phew. Did you pour milk in the Cheerios? Grabbing a chair, I jumped up to silence the smoke alarm.
Thank you. I'm really so sorry. I tried wafting a dish towel at it, but the alarm just wouldn't stop. I didn't wake you, did I? Oh.
Man. I wasn't really listening to her. I was too busy creating space between us, and also looking for the source of the smoke. There it was. A pan with a charred black mass sitting in it. I didn't know what she'd burned, but she'd really burned it.
What is that?
It's the appetizer.
Oh, I thought I'd make you breakfast as a thank you. My mom used to have the best recipe for potato pancakes that would always fuel me for the day.
Seriously, she is such a sweetheart, and, well... I mean, she tried at least.
But these... well, I'm not totally sure what happened. I never used a stove like yours before, so this batch got a little... overdone. Maybe I can scrape off the burnt part.
Well...
You know what? Forget I said that. It's all burnt part. I'll just clean up my mess and then I'll make you a new batch. And I will definitely be more careful this time.
Poor thing.
Hang on, did you say potato pancakes?
They're the best. It's too bad this first batch didn't turn out because I spent all morning digging up the potatoes, washing them, peeling them. They were so tiny it took extra long. And I was worried you'd wake up before I could finish.
Mallory is automatically like good wife material here.
Luckily, I've got some other treats on the go as well, so you're not going to starve. Just let me turn on the toaster real quick.
As long as we don't get burnt toast. She turned, reaching for the toaster handle, but the microwave was running and the kettle was boiling and...
Wait, stop!
Oh dear. Yay! We don't have any power! Too late. She'd overload the I overloaded the words that my mouth can say. She overloaded the solar panel's inverter, and just like that, the kettle, microwave, toaster, and kitchen lights all shut off.
Why did you do that?
Damn. She's just trying to be a good future wife for you, and you're yelling at her, and... oh my god. Mallory, having plated the overdone pancakes for some reason, dropped the plate in alarm. It smashed, flinging shards of itself across the floor. The blackened pancakes bounced like rocks. Sad potato rocks.
I just wanted to make you some breakfast. I didn't mean to cause so much trouble. I'll clean this up.
I sighed in frustration. All I had wanted was to make coffee and sit down at my computer, just like every other morning. I couldn't do that now because I had to get the power sorted and check to make sure she hadn't completely destroyed my precious garden.
Are you angry with me?
Don't be angry at her. How am I supposed to answer that? Oh my... you're... damn it! Say yes, this is outrageous. It's unfair. How can you be on the council and not be a master? I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. Oh my god. Let me see here. Okay, it's outrageous and unfair. My god. Say 4. This is outrageous. It's unfair. How can you be on the council and not be a master? Take a seat, young Skywalker. My cheeks burned with insult. I pointed aggressively at the mess on the floor. Seriously, I feel like I'm breaking this poor girl's heart. She's trying to be nice to him, and oh my god.
My potatoes!
Oh my. If only I had known how strongly you felt about root vegetables, I wouldn't have.
Didn't I tell you not to touch anything?
I already feel terrible.
This is my home! You're not even supposed to be here!
Oh my... Seriously, how can you be so mean to her?
I know. I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you, I promise. I'll make sure everything is clean and perfect before I go.
Oh my... The one thing that, like, really hurts me is seeing a woman cry, and... For any of you who've seen my DDLC videos, you know how much, like, how I say... I never want to see Monica crying, I never want to see Sayori crying, I never want to see any of them crying, just because it hurts me inside. This is hurting me inside. I'm not kidding. This is really hurting me inside. Oh my god. I let out another heavy sigh. I felt a bit bad for snapping at her, but I just couldn't deal with it right now. Okay, Ultra Magnus. You better feel bad for snapping at her. She doesn't deserve this. I turned away and rip in potatoes. I turned away and went to haul on my work gloves and my boots.
I'll be out in the yard for a while.
Okay, apparently now we're just gonna go out and do Harvest Moon things. Oh my... This is seriously hurting me. It's one thing to see a woman crying, but it's another to actually hear a woman crying. I went out, and as I pulled the back door shut behind me, I heard a soft sound from the kitchen, like a heavy sigh or a stifled sob. Wait, was she crying? Yes, she was! She was just trying to be nice to you, and you just freaking attack her.
What did I get myself into?
I know I'm choosing the wrong options, but I didn't think he was going to be like this bad to her.
For real, I can't believe.
It's the curse of, like I said, trying to 100% the game and show off everything the game has. I continued muttering grumpily to myself as I strode out into the garden. I then took a deep breath of fresh, cold air. It had an autumn bite to it, but the sun was warm. It felt instantly calmer.
Oh well, she'll be gone soon anyway.
At the rate you're treating her, yeah, I would be surprised if she stayed any longer with you. I wouldn't want to stay. I took my time that morning, dealing with the power issue and making the usual rounds. Happy hens? Check. Busy beehive? Check. I did a rough count of the firewood in my shed, then made my way back around to the front of the cabin. I stopped when I saw the bloody animal trap where Mallory had gotten hurt the night before.
Damn, that had to have been painful.
It looked super painful. I felt pretty bad. The traps were only supposed to be wards, something to keep my bubble a little safer from dangerous wildlife. I'd never meant for anyone to get hurt. I looked at the trap, wondering if I should rethink my setup. Man. I wonder how many of these save slots I'm going to end up using by the end of the game here. Well, like I said, it's a good thing I'm writing all my choices down here. Okay, we're going to leave the trap where it is. We're going to be totally like, I don't give a crap. It's just going to stay where it is. I decided to leave it. The traps were there for a reason, after all, and what had happened to Mallory was more of a freak accident than anything else. And it totally won't ever happen again. Well, let's see. Hopefully I'm wrong about that. I knew where the traps were, and that was the most important thing. Anyone unfamiliar with them shouldn't be creeping around here anyway. That's one way to think about it. It's not the right way to think about it, but... Confident in my decision, I carried on walking down into the garden. Right away I could see where Mallory had dug up breakfast. I surveyed the overturned earth with a heavy heart, noticing a handful of small potatoes uprooted and abandoned. Well, I could always plant something new here. It was the right time of year for garlic. The sun had already climbed high into the sky, and I was feeling almost warm enough to peel off my sweater. I figured I should probably go inside, maybe eat something, check in on poor Mallory, and get to work on my computer. Oh my... Even when you're treating her so awful, she's still being a good wife to you. Well, seriously, Mallory is like good wife material here. I'm just saying it now. Just like, despite him treating her so horribly, she still wants to be so kind and gentle toward him. Right away as I went inside and kicked off my boots, something didn't feel right. It took a moment to realize. The mess was gone. There were no brooms on the floor, no garbage bags waiting to go out, no scattered crumbs or dust bunny cities. Everything looked so clean. It literally sparkled. But how? And why? Had Mallory done all this just to make up for that little breakfast fiasco? Probably, because you made her feel so awful and you even made her cry.
Whoa. This is really nice. Like, really, really nice.
As I looked around at all she had done, I started to feel like a bit of an ass. You should! I figured I should apologize. But where was she? She hadn't already left, had she? Oh my god, are you telling me? Okay, well, she's not gone. Then I heard something coming from the bathroom. The sound of splashing water and a small voice humming a happy tune. My heart sank.
She couldn't. She wouldn't.
Uh-oh. What? Without thinking, I threw open the bathroom door. Oh, jeez. Oh. I wouldn't... Well, there is another alternate version of this game, as hinted by the Steam page, where you can get the unedited, as I'm gonna call it, DLC for this, so I wonder if this towel would be here. And we stared at each other, both of us shocked at my intrusion. Then my brain kicked back into gear and I tore my gaze away from her. But it was too late. I had seen everything, including the bathtub full of water.
What are you doing?
I was just taking a bath.
I pointed in the direction of the bathtub, keeping my eyes fixated on the door frame.
That's my water supply!
It's still warm if you want to use it.
What? Did she not get it?
That's my water supply! My fresh water! My drinking water! My everything water! What were you thinking? Why did you use so much?
Panic was really setting in now. What if she'd run my cistern dry? I'd have almost nothing until the next rainfall, and who knew when that would be?
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. I had no idea. I'm so sorry. I really didn't know.
I'd never run out of water before, but that was because I'd always been so careful. This could be the very day I had so deeply feared. would come.
How do you survive this way?
Oh my...
It's like you're constantly wasting things!
Jeez.
Is this why you were out in the rain last night? Did your bubble decide to kick you out because you don't know how to think before you act?
Just when he was here thinking I was an ass, I should probably just apologize to her. Now he's being even more of an ass to her. Her mouth popped open. I immediately felt bad for shouting. As you should. Damn, I really was in a bad mood today.
Just finish up in here. And don't drain that water, okay? I'll repurpose it for laundry or something.
I didn't want to acknowledge my own anger, or the tears that had sprung into her eyes at what I'd said. You're just hurting her left and right, and it's just pissing me off. In any case, I needed to check the rain barrels, like right that second. I turned my back on her and walked away. For the rest of the afternoon, I sat at my computer waiting for Mallory to leave. I just couldn't stop thinking about her. And by that, I mean I couldn't stop thinking about how naive, careless, and wasteful she was. Nothing to do with her shimmery eyes or how sweet she seemed to be, even when everything else was horrible. Nope. No chance, no way, I won't say I'm in love. Well, actually, I don't even know if you can say that. It's obvious that... yeah, this is what he's pissed off at the most, but... I don't know. This is like what I'm thinking here, like, even though he's being a total jackass to her, she is still trying to be nice to him. The good news was, I checked on the rain barrels, and the situation wasn't as dire as I'd feared. As long as it rained again sometime in the next few weeks, we'd be okay. Still, I sat at my computer for a long time, entirely unable to focus on my work. What are you even working on? When Mallory finally reappeared, she was holding a cardboard box of my old clothes. For some reason, she was still only wearing a bath towel. That made me feel all sorts of uncomfortable feelings. And I tried extra hard to keep my eyes on the computer screen. I pretended to type. I noticed the box had more clothing in it than before. I even saw some of my favorites peeking out. Even the game is here, like, calling, well, technically calling me out on, like, haven't you had enough confrontation for today? Like, you know? Well, clearly, though, I don't. Let me see here. Save 6. Confrontation. Yeah, see, there are so many choices here. But, well, like I said, at least I'm making notes of everything I'm doing here, so I can just go back and show off all these little things. Let me see here. Huh, is there not a skip? Oh, no, there is a skip button. What am I saying? No, apparently I haven't had enough confrontation for today. I doubted she could cause much trouble with a box of clothes. If anything, she should be questioning the simple fact that she was still in my house. Hadn't we agreed she would leave in the morning? But I didn't say anything, because oddly enough, it was kind of nice having someone puttering around, making a noise here and there, reminding me that I wasn't alone. It reminded me of my youth, of the summers I spent at the cabin with my family. Anyway, if she wanted to hang around and head out later in the day, when there was less sun, that was her call, as long as she didn't wreck anything else. And it's nighttime. I hyper-focused on my screen, and another couple of hours, I still had nothing done. Suddenly it was dark out and I was starving. And Mallory still hadn't left. In fact, she was still in the kitchen, and there were nice savory smells wafting my way. I logged off and shut down my computer, quickly but casually, making my way over to her. I found her tending to 3 separate pots on the stove, all of them shimmering and steaming pleasantly. How dare she? What? Okay, I'm angry because I'm impressed and excited. What is wrong with this guy? Well, I don't know, maybe he's different when I'm actually treating her nicely. I'll have to see later. Nothing was burning this time either, which made me feel annoying things like impressed and kind of excited to eat that. Mallory noticed me standing there and smiled way too brightly. See, Mallory is just too good to him. You don't deserve her.
Oh, good, you're finished working. That's perfect because supper is ready.
And she's still in a bath towel. She started dishing out the oddly fancy-looking meal onto 2 large plates.
What is all this?
It's all made from freeze-dried proteins and grains I found in the pantry, and some spices, which, by the way, make all the difference when it comes to flavoring a dish.
Okay, sounds fair.
Oh, and I only used things that were already open, so I hope I didn't overstep again. I can tell you work really hard, and I know I made a mess of things, and I just really wanted to make it up to you.
Mallory is a very good person. She really is. She's not trying to be as naive, wasteful, or careless as he put it.
I'm determined to have a net positive impact here.
Well, that's good, Mallory. She thought I'd been nice. Yeah, I would have used a different word to describe you. I was suddenly very concerned about how low the bar was for her. I would say that maybe she's just trying to be optimistic and see the best in you instead of assuming that you're a complete ass and that she should not be showering you with kindness. I also couldn't help but feel a little charmed by her determination. I wanted to let her know that I did actually appreciate her efforts. Then just do it! Like the bearded man tells you.
Well, this does look incredible. And by the smell of it, I'm pretty sure I'll be licking these plates clean. You did wash your hands before you started, right?
Nope, I totally didn't.
Yes, silly. And I still don't have any symptoms of any sicknesses either.
See, she is very kind and considerate.
So come on, let's eat. I want you to enjoy it while it's hot.
Yep, you want to have that food while it's hot and fresh, right? There was something so endearing about the simplicity of her delight. Well, finally we agree on something. I like that about her too. I smiled as I took my plate and sat down at the far end of the table, away from her. We ate in silence. The food really was delicious. I wouldn't have guessed she'd had it in her, not based on that morning. I wonder if I should try to get some answers out of her now, I thought, and cleared my throat.
How's your leg feeling?
It's not too bad.
I should probably take a look at it after supper. Clean it up and put a fresh bandage on it. And then, I suppose we should talk about getting you home?
Right. Home.
Man, I like the sound of that.
I mean, I don't know if you have a family or a group or whatever, or if you're on your own like me, but you don't exactly look like you, live in the forest.
Yeah, you're not like some kind of hot, sexy forest elf.
So where are you headed?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Like, where was she going? Like, why was she out there? She lifted one shoulder, visibly uncertain. Unless maybe she's a bit of a drifter.
Surely there must be someone, somewhere.
I'll figure something out.
Yeah, I really don't like the sound of that.
Hang on, no. I want to make sure you're going to be okay.
I thought you just wanted me to leave.
Well, he did, but now he's actually starting to show some genuine sympathy and compassion toward her.
Ideally, I'd like to know at least something about your situation. Maybe I could help you.
She looked away.
That's sweet of you, but
But...
I'm sorry. I'm just not ready to talk about it.
Okay.
We felt quiet once more, just the awkward scrape of forks on the plates to fill the silence. I considered her as she sat across from me, so beautiful as it was. So beautiful it was as if she were a digital painting. You mean like the digital paintings in Crush Crush? Okay, well... I mean, it's the same person drawing the artwork for them, so I mean... It's artist Panda, Morgan, as people know her, so...
Can I just ask one more question?
Are you the waifu of my dreams? No.
Why are you still wearing that towel?
She looked at me blankly. The last few morsels of food, balanced off her fork, fell back onto her plate. She glanced down at herself, then up again, hands clapping against the sides of her face.
What? You mean I've been wearing this the whole time?
Yeah, you kind of have been.
Oh, I can't believe it. How do I forget these things? Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Oh my gosh.
She was a bit of a space case. See, like, you can't just stay angry at her. I mean, she's too adorable and loving, and there's a lot of good things about her. I couldn't help laughing. I felt like I was finally catching on. She was a bit of a space case, that was all. And her mannerisms made it sort of adorable. Period.
I'll be back to clean up as soon as I'm decent.
Her efforts to flee were quickly hampered by her leg. She ended up limping away in search of her clothes, mumbling exasperatedly under her breath. That's when it hit me. I hadn't even considered how much pain she must have been, as she cooked and cleaned and tried so hard to pay me back. Pay me back for what, though? I'd only wanted to help, and I hadn't even done a great job of it. Nope, the only thing you've accomplished is making her cry and breaking her little heart. And now I was trying to send her away, knowing full well she had nowhere to go. Yep, way to go, Kenobi. No, I couldn't do that. And now, I felt like I had to make things up to her. I tidied up quickly from supper and returned to my computer, where I booted up my 3D printer. Orderly, we have a badass over here. I wish I could have a 3D printer. I didn't use the thing often, but it was there for emergencies, and this seemed urgent enough. What are you gonna make? I managed to find a design that was close to what I had imagined, and I set everything up and stood back to watch the printer do its thing. Just then, Mallory emerged wearing her dress.
Oh, you already cleaned up. I guess that's it then.
Is she really gonna leave? She stood beside the table, leaning on it for support. I stood in front of the printer while it worked. I didn't know what to say, so I just decided to let the words come out of my mouth.
You should stay.
Okay, now we're talking.
Also, I'm sorry. I've been a total asshat to you.
Yes, you have been. She looked at me, nervously clutching the sides of her dress with her tiny hands. Her mouth opened and closed like she didn't know what to say either, so I just kept going.
It was kind of a shock to have you show up here. I haven't had anyone visit, ever. Because this has always been my space, my family's space. I guess I felt sort of invaded.
MySpace. Does anyone still use that?
But now I realize that's stupid.
Yes. Kind of like you've been to her.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is, I wouldn't feel right making you leave when you're clearly in a bad spot. I have the means to help you, and there's no reason why I shouldn't. If you want to leave, that's fine, but there's no rush. Cool?
Let's see what Mallory has to say. She smiled softly. Her eyes seemed to glitter.
Cool.
She's blushing. Behind me, the 3D printer finished its work. I turned around to take a sheet of gauze with the cute potato pattern I'd printed, hoping it would amuse her and lighten the mood. Okay, what did you make her?
Can I redress your leg now?
The pattern on the gauze made her giggle, and she nodded and sat down, propping her leg up. I prepared once again for the uncomfortable closeness that was necessary for this task. I scrubbed my hands, put on a mask and a pair of gloves. Don't touch me, I'm sterile! And went to sit by her with the first aid kit. We chatted idly as I cleaned and packed her wound. Afterwards, I got her to set up on the couch and bid her good night. I wasn't exactly tired, but I figured it was better to leave things off on a pleasant note before things got awkward again. I climbed up the stairs into my loft and lay in bed, staring at the ceiling above me. I thought about how angry I'd been with her actions that morning. I thought about how scared and uncomfortable I'd felt throughout the day. How was it that now, a matter of hours later, I could feel such a gentle fondness for that very same person who'd made me so upset? It's like I always say, destiny is a funny thing. Moody hermit, I accused myself. Well, I guess it is appropriate to call him Kenobi. Yeah, you're probably right, I thought in reply. And with that, I closed my eyes and waited for sleep. Sleep, where are you? Okay, let's see here. How about a little hospitality with your hostility? Wait, geez, you're really gonna make me feel worse about it, aren't you? Okay, time for more Harvest Moon shenanigans. Well, at least... yeah, I guess I'm just gonna leave things off here for now. It's been about an hour and a half or so, which I guess kind of feels right for the pace of this. I don't know how long the game is, considering I've seen a few other playthroughs, or well, at least I've looked up other playthroughs. I haven't watched them, but they all seem to be like, certain parts of them with commentary are like 30 minutes or so, and there's this one playthrough with no commentary, and supposedly it's a complete game for like 2.5 hours, so... But I don't know how much they cover for that game, so we'll see. Alright, well, I guess we'll see where this carries on afterward. And then we'll also see what the fruits of my labor yield for us. What kind of ending this sort of be insensitive to Mallory route is going to give us. So, I will see you guys next time with whatever else I do. Stay golden, and later, folks.